Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on which time zone you're in, and welcome to today's Search and Rescue Rappelling Simulation, Mission Critical at Altitude. We have a very exciting demo to share with you today, and we want to get to it right away. But first, some housekeeping rules. I'm Evie Cuervo. I'll be your moderator today as we explore how reliable communications can literally mean the difference between life and death during emergencies. Before we begin, let me remind you that this session is being recorded and will be available for replay. We encourage you to submit your questions throughout the presentation using the Q&A feature. And we'll address them during our dedicated Q&A session at the end. But before we get started, I want to do a very quick poll. We have two of them at the beginning, and then we're going to go right to the action. So let's start with the first one. We're going to pull it up right now. So what we want to know is, what's the biggest communication challenge your organization faces during extreme weather events? So is it power outages that disrupt your network, cell tower damage? Is it remote locations with poor signal coverage, coordinating between multiple agencies, maintaining video quality for situational awareness, or other? We'll give you a couple of seconds to choose an option. They're coming in. This is great. Keep going, keep going. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So let's stop the poll and let's share the answers. Okay, so it looks like remote locations with poor signal coverage seems to be the winner here. And funny enough, we're in a very remote location where this simulation is taking place. Okay, so now let's go to the second poll. So this is about operational excellence, readiness rather. So how quickly can your current communication systems be deployed in emergency situations? Under 10 minutes, 10 to 30, 30 to 60, 1 to 3, or over 3 hours? Please take a moment and choose which is true to you in your agency. Okay, that's great. They keep coming in. Let's keep going. Okay, they're moving faster. One more second for you to make a selection. All right, so let's stop the poll and let's share the results. Okay, this is an interesting one. We've got several that are about the same in terms of choices. Under 10 minutes, that's amazing. 10 to 30 minutes, 1 to 3 hours are the most chosen multiple choice here. Well, thank you so much for your answers. This gives us a really good starting point. And so let's get to it, shall we? I want to take you straight to where the action is happening because that's what we want to show you. And so let me introduce our speakers of today. We have an exceptional panel of experts joining us from Dejero and Pelsue Communications. They'll be sharing their insights on mission critical communications during this simulation. So let me start first with Rory McCabe. He is the channel sales manager here at Dejero. Hello, Rory.
Hey, Evie, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. Thank you. That's quite the backdrop behind you. I'm going to need your eyes to sort of guide me where everybody seems to be because I know we're all in different locations. Where is Pete Weber, the connectivity solutions partner with Pelsue?
So if you look down here at our base setup, that's where Pete Weber and Jeff Hulse from Golden Fire are. So Pete Weber from Pelsue and Jeff Hulse from Golden Fire. Let's get a quick wave, gentlemen. Thank you. All right. I'm here about, I don't know, about 40 feet off the deck, right? So just a scurry up here. And then I am about halfway point because you can see we've got a fixed line and we have our climber, our repeller, above me a good, I don't know, about 115 feet up from me from where I'm at.
Yeah, and I can see already Jeff Hall's, no, Kevin Karn, who's our dedicated climber, rappelling down the mountain. So just tell us, obviously, we want to start and be very transparent. This is professionals doing this, so we don't encourage anybody who is not, ready to do something like this after having training. We don't want to do that. We don't want to put in people in danger. So tell us what Kevin Karn, our dedicated climber, is using today to ensure his safety. And there
Well,
he is.
actually, I think we can let Kevin answer us. So, Kevin?
Just thought I'd drop in.
All right. Yeah, we were big about puns here. So this is Kevin Carr, and Kevin is our repeller and our climber today. So Kevin actually, before we got here this morning, I belayed Kevin. He fixed his line up, and he has descended down to us on a rappel. Kevin, how long have you been climbing for? About 30 years climbing. Okay. All right. And then tell us a little. And I'm not sure how well you can hear him because I think can you hear Kevin all right?
A little bit, but we can hear you better now. If
Well,
you can,
I'll answer. I'll answer for Kevin. All right.
sure.
Yeah. So Kevin says he's been climbing for 25 years. Kevin, can you tell me a little bit about what your setup is here to ensure that you're safely rappelling?
So it's a pretty typical recreational rappel setup where I'm on both strands of the rope.
So a recreational rappel set up on both strands of the rope. Is that your? This is your ATC?
Yeah, this is the you get your old one similar to style blade device.
Yeah.
So it allows you to change one or two strands of the rope in there.
Okay. So he has his braking device here. He's got a strand running down that's affixed to his harness. And then Kevin, can you tell us a little bit of what is this knot here? What do we got going on? What is it? What is this setup called?
Commonly referred to as a third hand. So what that does is actually function as my braking in and going.
Okay.
It's just a simple friction hitch that just applies the same amount of pressure.
So Kevin's got a third, what's called a third hand. It's a friction hit or a prusik knot. And that means if something were to happen, which we don't wish anything to happen, of course, right? Even though we are literally on the side of a cliff here. But if something were to have disabled Kevin and he were to lose the ability to have hands on rope, that will stop him from being able to descend any further. So that is a safety precaution. So you get one hand, two hands, third hand, right? So that's just to ensure that we're having safety approach. So let's talk a little bit about really quickly why we have a repeller here today. So, well, that is not needed for this specific rock climbing crag. A crag is an area where multiple rock climbs exist. We happen to be in Clear Creek Canyon today, outside of Golden, Colorado, by about 23 minutes due west, I suppose, right? And a lot of places in the canyon or different spots, the access to it, well, you may be able to hike into this area. The quickest way to get real resources are like a fire, EMS vehicles, support into it is actually coming from above down in and then pulling them back up. And you're thinking, well, but you can hike. Yeah, but these are little deer trails. These are very tight knit in area. So, for example, Lookout Mountain, where some of you might have seen my rappel scenario. You enter from there. So if there was an injured climber in that position, you would have to lower down in to help them and then hoist them back up. So we wanted to ensure that we represented that, one, truthfully and accurately, and two, to give an example of some of the conditions that our first response in this area find themselves in, right? So lowering is the most efficient and safest way to attend to injured climbers, hikers, mountain bikers in certain instances. And sometimes down into the creek, car accidents, swift water rescues, things of that nature. So we're going to let Kevin shove off here. I'm going to push him out of the way. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to actually push him. We are
Don't say that,
safety.
Rory.
Yeah.
Rory,
So Kevin's going to go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, so we can see the drone camera showing us sort of the location of where Kevin currently is. But, when infrastructure fails, lives are at risk. And we know that there are more than 3,600 annual search and rescue incidents in Colorado alone, and 11.5 average SAR incidents per day in US National Open Park spaces like the one that you're at. So let's break it down, because there are a lot of components here, and we certainly want to be able to bring our audience to, what is possible in an area. So set the scene. We can look in the background and see, wow, this is raw nature, lots of rock. What does it look like on your phone when you get to this location? Do you see any bars? What is the connectivity like? Set the scene for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes you get a bar or two here and there, but the problem with the problem with nature's skyscrapers, they're RF's enemy, right? So you can, and actually right in front of me that way, about 500 yards is the trailhead in Highway 6. So while we are very remote, there is road access. That's important to understand, but that doesn't mean a lot, right? Because the road has some service covered by small cell sites. And the reason why it's small cells, right, is you can't bounce signal through this canyon off of a larger tower or larger infrastructure. Even the P25 radio system, the State 800, they need repeaters through this to work, even just there. But that's really covering your major corridors. Guess where all the incidents happen? They happen away from the highway, right? So the second you walk out of that parking lot, no bars. You can't call out. You can't get out. So if something were to happen in here, your party or other people, and actually when we're here testing on Tuesday, there's another rock climbing group behind us. I actually told them to come back, so I thought it'd be really cool in the background, shameless marketing plug. But they would have had to have to hike out to the road 500 plus yards, and it's actually about 15 minutes hike just to place a 911 call. There is no cell service where we're at, right? So that's really concerning. So we have a huge problem in Colorado or in a lot of places. Canyons are RF's enemy, both for the LMR systems, land mobile radios, and cellular. You can't cover as much. And frankly, well, as aesthetic and beautiful this is, no one lives here, right? You're not going to put necessarily infrastructure here or be able to even get it permitted to be put in here because there's no power. There's no ability to run. I mean, look at this. You're not burying fiber lines. You might be able to hang stuff, but this is not exactly a friendly environment for that. So this is just not ever going to be an area where communications are well serviced. And frankly, just one last thing. We talk a lot about space-based communications, right? We talk a lot about like Starlink to T-Mobile and AST Mobile, really good stuff. That requires power and visibility. Cell phones don't have very big power and antennas, which in a wide open field, right, open spaces that would work really well in this environment, RF just bounces all around like crazy. It's problematic for them to even function. All right, back to you, Edie.
Yeah, and one thing that's important to note is, so Kevin, our dedicated repeller, is essentially could be a search and rescue team that's coming down right now. So where is Kevin? Because he's sort of the example of potentially what we would need to do if somebody was injured, if someone was harmed,
Yep.
and they were trying to get there.
Kevin
So
where's
Kevin right now?
At our base. Yeah, so Kevin's actually now at our base, and I'm going to get down there right myself. Now, to be safe, we're going to stop looking at me, and Pete's actually going to switch on to that base camera, and I'm going to get down there nice in a nice hurry here real quickly. So let's be safe about this.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to be connecting now. So we're at the bottom of the canyon, and Pete is there. And Pete, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Amazing. So Pete, thank you so much for being here today. Who do you have with you at the base?
So we've got Jeff from Golden Fire here with us today here at the base.
Morning, Pete.
Morning. Jeff, thank you so much for being with us today.
She says thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So first, before we talk with Jeff, let's talk a little bit about what you have behind you, Pete, because really that's what it's allowing us to come live to you. So we'll just make sure that Rory's not giving us his back. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
So Pete.
Yeah, there we go.
Pete, give us a show and tell of what is on the ground right now that's allowing for this critical connection to happen right now in real time.
Right. So what we've got here is the Pelsue COMMLINK, which is essentially a network in a box. It can propagate a cellular and a Wi-Fi network, which we're doing right now to come to you live from where we shouldn't be able to come to you live from. So it uses whatever backhaul is available. In this case, we're using the 2 Starlink minis over there, and we've routed those into the Dejero 3220, and Dejero Smart Blending Technology has allowed us to blend those signals together to create one strong signal to feed into the COMMLINK. And with that signal, we can propagate out the native cellular network and Wi-Fi as well.
Why is blending superior to, say, when people often refer to, which is bonding? What is the main difference? I wonder if Rory can answer that.
I was going to say, she's trying to get you like a quiz.
Right.
Yeah. So cellular bonding, a really good technology, has some detriments to it. They hash out data by session, which means audio, voice, and maybe your CAT or RMS is separated on each different carrier. They require a certain amount of bandwidth to operate. And then if they're not having that bandwidth, they have to store forward redial, which basically, hey, it's not hitting, go to the next link, go to the next link. And the problem is those other links are already taking a load. And since that might not be conducive to the bandwidth they need, no signal gets out. So in a positive communications environment, works amazing. right? No problem. It's a great technology, solves a lot of problems. Like where we are now, you need a per packet, per flow decision. That means we're having these tiny little packets going through each data link, dynamically checking it back and forth and at the packet level to make real-time decisions of how they're flowing and what order they need to be received in. So one of the problems with bonding in this scenario is video will probably cut out. It'll pause out. Actually, satellite, a really good technology, it has problems with TCP, right? So it does these micro drops every 2 to 3 minutes. And if you've ever been on someone or been with someone on a video call and they're on a satellite only connection, about 20 to 45 minutes in, they'll freeze out completely almost every single time. So you can imagine how problematic that is for real-time communication.
Yeah.
So it might be great for email, might be good for some information, but not real-time communications.
So
And that's where they come in. We
mhm.
aggregate 2 satellite links, we offset the problems they have, we blast out a native network signal. And in this instance, Pete, anyone with this carrier, they have connectivity.
That's correct. And anyone without the carrier can still connect to internet because they were putting out a Wi-Fi signal as well.
Okay.
That's a
So
powerful tool for emergency response. Would love to hear from Jeff about it because,
yeah,
you know, maybe Rory, you can have a chat with
Yeah.
Jeff.
So, hey, let's talk about everyone loves robots. I'm just kidding. Use of AI, did a little research here, and Jeff and I talked about it in advance. So, Jeff, I read on the internet. In the last 4 years, you've had 12 newsworthy incidences here.
Wow.
That's what I saw. How many more responses in the last 4 years compared to each other? Is it like 3, 4, 5x comparatively to the 12 ones that I know about in the canyon?
I don't have a specific number for you, but I can tell you it's a lot more. Very rarely do rescues make the news. We're up here a lot, search and rescue missions. We've got rock climbers, we've got slackliners, we've even got caves, people going exploring in their caves, and we need to go and help them when they come to a time of need.
And marketers are telling me they want you to face the camera. I know I tell you, Alspice. Guys, I am not a professional news anchor. So we'll get used to, I don't know what to do with my hands, right?
It's
We're
okay.
on
You're
board
doing
to be
well.
action.
You're doing well, Rory. Keep going.
Hey, so 12x, right? We're talking like a huge trip fold of like what you're experiencing. What are some of the examples of the type of rescues you've had or your agencies had done back in the canyon?
Good question. So like I said, we're up here for a plethora of rescues. We've got cars that drive into the creek, maybe under the influence of alcohol or drugs. We've got rock climbers that have a misstep and fall. In fact, right behind me, we recently had a rescue and we had to pick up a patient that fell from this very rock climbing area. And the person calling didn't have any cell reception. They had to go to the highway to try and get a signal. We've got hikers that get lost, fall, dark of night, and we can't find them. So we end up with people spread out all over the place. A lot of different types of rescues.
So that highlights a big thing, right? They had to go all the way back to the road. Tell me a little bit about how your P25 system behaves in the canyon and your challenges, as well as the cell service that you use, which we understand it has a lot of great qualities, but we're back in the area where some things get problematic. So if you can tell us a little bit about some of the hindrances of those traditional technology approaches.
Absolutely. So typically in the fire service, we rely on radio system, but for that to work, it's a digitally trunked system. And we rely on the ability for our handhelds, which are generally low wattage, to get to the repeater tower. And depending on the terrain, especially here in Clear Creek Canyon, we're too close to the repeater tower. A lot of times we're at the base of the mountain and the radio signal shoots over us. We don't have that kind of access. So sometimes we have to rely on cell phones. And again, depending on where we're at, we may or may not have cell reception out here. So we kind of go through our different communication modalities, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. In a perfect world, like Rory said, it's a great system, but it's not always reliable. Something like this would be great to have.
Yeah, it made me think, and I was actually talking to a gentleman the other day, doing search and rescue in a low to no comms environment. You grid everything off, right? We're going to canvas by teams. something like this that weighs about 45 pounds that could be carried by one, which Pete carried it back in here, or two people, say the load, make everybody's back hurts a little bit less. Would that help you if you could have a portable solution that can move within each vector?
Absolutely. Communication challenges are one of the biggest problems that we have in the fire service, whether it's a wildland fire and people are spread out just because of coverage area, incident area. To be able to guarantee communications effectiveness in any environment would be an incredible advantage.
Mhm. How long does the Pelsue COMMLINK take? I mean, we've often heard of day one communications. A lot of companies, market themselves as that. But what does day one communications mean in a scenario like the ones that Jeff has, faced in the past? How long does it take it to set up? How quickly does it work? Break it down for us.
So day one communications to us means that you can set this thing up in less than 5 minutes. It has an insanely simple method to set up. All you do is you open it up, you connect the Starlink, and you hold the button for about 8 seconds. And then within 5 minutes, you'll have connectivity. Now, on one battery charge, you can run for up to 12 hours. So you can have it stationary, continuous connectivity for up to 12 hours, and it only takes about 4 hours to charge 100%.
And so
That's
connectivity
perfect.
can be established at altitude from anywhere, and it also does auto acquire and self-pointing technology, yes?
Correct. Yes, there's nothing that the operator has to do except turn it on.
Amazing, amazing. So we are now coming down to the time where we want to give people a chance to put in their questions as part of this demo. So let's start with the first one that we have here from Rhonda. Yes, thank you, Rhonda, for your question. So she's asking why they couldn't hear the repeller. Does the speaker have an earpiece that he's talking with?
Yeah, actually, I love that question. So, all right, I got to be friendly. Everyone's got their preference of like handset manufacturer out there. I won't name the handset. The handset is prone to overheating and also shutting down within cold temperatures. So more often than not, first response agencies tend to do a few things. Oftentimes they revert to non-consumer grade technology that are ruggedized that can have a better temperature variance, or you could drop them. You could do a lot of things. So what happened to that device? It overheated. We did everything we could to keep that thing cool, but frankly, I don't walk around with a bunch of ruggedized handsets because I am actually a consumer. I used to do ruggedized. I used to do mil-spec phones, and I got made fun of for carrying around these giant tanks with me. And I do like the UIs and things. And Jeff, do you carry a rugged phone or just like a normal one you could go and buy in a store?
Normal consumer.
Yeah. See, so it varies. On each agency and preference, some of the handsets they may issue would be ruggedized, tablets, laptops, all of this hardware. But guys, again, we're not a media company. We do support them. But all of the gear and things we're using, this is mostly off the shelf. My super expensive $15 mic set up from Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, really what the most important thing here is the critical connectivity that actually even allows us to have this live simulation. I wonder if I can ask another question to Jeff. Jeff, you mentioned recently you've had more incidents in that area, like in fact, just there. What do you do then when your comms does not work? Like, how do you communicate with your team?
That's a great question. We start with our most common communications modality, and typically that's radios. If that doesn't work, we have simplex channels that are typically line of sight, but as I'm sure everybody knows, there's a lot of curvature to the mountains, and a lot of times you don't have line of sight. If we don't have any radio communications, we try and switch to cellular. And if we're happen to be in an area that we don't have any cellular reception, we need a different solution. Sometimes we're able to set up human repeaters that can relay the message, but what that means is there's a delay in the communications happening. And not all the time do we have the personnel to be able to support such an endeavor.
2 tin cans in a string, note running. And it's funny, I was actually talking to a gentleman the other week about creating a white paper about the analog skills, because technology, we are a huge mitigation of risk factor and what we all do. but those skills are really important, right? It's map reading, it's how to signal each other, having that go to things. And, we want to ensure, while technology is something people are going to more and more rely upon, we keep those core skills enabled, because everyone follows pace: primary, alternative, contingency, and emergency.
Exactly.
Mind your emergency, mind your ease.
So let me ask you another question. How heavy is that COMMLINK unit? I mean, like when you think about Jeff, right? If him and his team are there and they have to bring it into an area like this, like, is it heavy? Tell me a little bit about what that weighs.
Yeah, it weighs about 45 pounds. So
Okay.
I'm going to pick it up here.
Gonna hold your mic.
Yes, please.
Tiny microphones for the win.
Pick up and carry.
So one of the questions that we have is, can you leave the 45-pound pack up by the command post on the road, and will this still work?
So what is the range of your broadcast panel?
Right. That's a great question. So because we have an external antenna off of the network extender, the range of it is it's up to 1,000 feet
Wow.
for cellular, and up
quarter mile?
to, yeah, about a quarter mile, and up to 600 feet Wi-Fi.
That's interesting. So really, if emergency crews really need to rush the scene and don't have the capacity to bring this, they can put it on a strategic spot and still be able to communicate and get situational awareness during a rescue.
That's right. Yeah, that's what it was designed for, to essentially cover the size of a base camp or something like that, and be easily maneuverable. So if you have to move from one position to the other, you can easily do that.
Amazing.
You don't need to be at the creek. You can be close to it, and it's at a safer level spot, or something that's not going to tip in and try to go swimming.
So we have about 3 minutes left for our demo to come to conclusion. We welcome any additional questions. But as we're starting to wrap up, Jeff, what would it mean to have something that you can deploy in under 5 minutes? Single operator.
What do you want for Christmas?
Great question. So the speed and reliability that this system seems to demonstrate would be a game changer for first responders. A lot of times we're spread out across the mountain face and people end up in different areas, and communications is essential. To be able to turn this up in under 5 minutes and guarantee communications, ensuring that everybody's getting the same message at the same time, it'd be a wonderful, who wouldn't want that guarantee?
We have two more questions. The question is, have you used microwave to extend further?
Oh, do you mean for their communications or for Pelsue's?
Either, I guess.
First responders have not used microwave to extend our communications. We typically don't have that ability.
Yeah, those are generally point-to-point backhaul for fixed sites.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily put them up. You can cook an egg in front of them. That's fun. Seen a couple of videos on the internet.
Here's another
Have you ever used microwave for a backhaul for e-speed?
Yeah, there are always things to explore, and that's not one that we've gotten to yet.
So we have another question here from Paul Noah. Thanks for your question, Paul. So we mentioned 2 Starlinks blended. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so Starlink minis are really transportable, right? For LEO panels in general. Like there's the Eutelsat's OneWeb, right? There's another one coming out in the next 12 months or so. And really good technology, but here's the thing. Down is easy, up is hard.
Yeah.
Right? Climbing into a canyon is easy. Getting back out is the work. That works the same way for cellular, space-based cellular communication, right? So where we talked about those little handoff issues, there's physics involved.
Right.
So we can have micro drops, we can have horizon drops, and you get a speed reduction. So like some of these smaller LEO panels, they do maybe 100, 120 down at best, 10 to 15 up fixed, 2 to 10 in motion. So 5 megabits per second is what you need to be able to do high definition video uplink. If you don't have that, this isn't possible, right? So that negates the normal technology.
Absolutely.
Fellas, you can come right through. Don't mind us. I said this is just a webinar here. We got real crimers coming in. Hey, you're welcome to come in and wave at the camera.
So guys, we have.
Yeah, we're talking about rescue scenarios. Yeah.
So we're just coming up to the end of the webinar. We've got a few questions, so let's get these completed. So the next one is, do you use radios to bounce the signal from the origination location to another location or back to the command post? Thanks, Melody, for your question.
So in this instance with this technology, you would have handsets, right? So whether it's going to give you a Wi-Fi or a cellular native connection, we don't need to do any of that because it's within its own network. And this ties back into whatever carrier they're propagating's network core. So just like you making a phone call, we don't have to do that. If you're talking about the P25 systems, we're going to let the expert talk about that.
Yep, we kind of mentioned earlier, sometimes when we don't have typical access to the repeater tower, we have to switch to our simplex channel, which is line of sight. And as we get personnel around the corners of mountains, sometimes we lose that line of sight. So if we have the ability, we'll put personnel at those handoff locations and we can bounce radio signals through human repeaters. Not all the time do we have the personnel available to do that, though. We're pretty staff constrained, and we do what we can, but not all the time do we have that luxury. Good question.
And that's a one-to-one communication. Yeah, so it's limited comparatively to one-to-many like we're doing right now.
So there are a number of other questions that are still popping up here, but we're at 11:31 and we don't want to go over the time that we promised everybody who joined us, but we will be answering them to you via email to ensure. But one last thing that, of course, as we start to wrap up, thank you for all of you being there and helping us to do this really important search and rescue simulation. Rory, I'll let you take it away as you all say your goodbyes to everybody who took part in this. Thank you so much. Rory, take it away.
Well, hey, I hopefully didn't speak too much. I did have a bonfire burrito brew this morning, and that tends to ramp me up a little bit. As I saw yesterday when I have Red Bull, I can speak without breathing between words. Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We really appreciate you allowing to virtually tune in to us today, and everyone that's tuned in before. So we look forward to our next conversation. We thank Golden Fire. And a big component here is your first response organizations always need to be funded, well funded. You have a tax levy coming up, please vote for it. Please be mindful of how your fire, EMS, and law enforcement are funded. You see them out. If anyone's local here, I see Golden Fire with the boots out, donate, right? The equipment like this, the staffing that they need, helping people out in place of injury. If we don't support them, they can't support us.
Yeah. And let's get Pete to say a goodbye and Jeff as well, please.
Yeah, so on behalf of Pelsue Communications, I just want to say thank you, Rory. Thank you, Dejero team. This has been great. Yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. And
thank you, everybody, for the invite. Thanks for having me here. It's been an honor. It's a great system. It's a great day. And thanks for developing the technology to help keep us safe and make effective rescues. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody. And if you're still around, we have one last poll that we're going to do right now to wrap this up. So the poll is, after seeing today's demonstration at Clear Creek Canyon, what is your biggest takeaway? The speed of deployment, the video quality and low latency, the rugged reliability, the auto-acquire self-pointed technology. I'm convinced this could solve our emergency problems. I need to see more. This demo exceeded my expectations. Please make your answers now. Again, we really appreciate you joining us today. We want to keep doing all these types of simulations in the future because we want to show you how it really works in areas where emergencies are likely to happen. Thank you so much for your answers. We'll show the results now. Really interesting stuff here. Thank you so much on behalf of Dejero and Pelsue. We hope to connect with you soon. Have a great rest of your day.